Okay, welcome back, guys. Started working on the Cummins this morning, and so far what I found, the timing has not slipped. I have had issues in the past where, under a full throttle stomp like that, the timing will slip and retard itself, and then it just, doesn't want to run worth a shit. It'll typically blow a lot of white smoke because the timing is retarded. So I checked my injection pump pin and my camshaft pin, along with down on the balancer. I've got a couple paint marks from the prior times that we've timed it. Everything's lined up there. Well, shit, so I went ahead and pulled the valve cover off. And here's what we got under the valve cover. This is kind of discerning right here. So immediately I saw the rocker right here was super loose on the intake number 5. In fact, it had pulled the threads off of the threads for the hole were on the bolt. So she's pulled all the thread material out of the head on the bolt, and the rocker sitting there loose. And also immediately noticed that one is bent. Exhaust push rod. So upon looking a little deeper, exhaust push rod here is bent. Exhaust push rod on number 3 is bent. I don't think number 4 is hurt, or number 2, but number 6 is bent, clear in the back. So that means either the camshaft gear has slipped or the crankshaft gear has slipped, allowing either the cam to retard or the crank to retard. Yeah, so I guess the crank would have advanced rather than retarded. So thinking about that, when you're under a rapid acceleration like that, something has to give, and potentially with all that fuel and power going through, it could have, I suppose, accelerated the crank faster than the rest of everything could accelerate, so that crank gear could have possibly sheared the pin and spun just a little bit. Also, the cam could have not accelerated fast enough in order to keep up with the crank, and then retarded the cam. So, oh boy, we're gonna have to kind of pull the front off, the front cover off, and get an inspection and see what the heck's going on with the front end. Okay, so just for reference, this is the cam and crank out of the Ford motor that has completely taken a shit. So on the cam, we do have a kind of a key right there that could have sheared, allowing the cam to slightly slip. And on the crankshaft, there also is kind of a key. I was told this is more of a pin, but this one looks like a key, so it should be about the same. I don't know what pin they're talking about, but that's definitely a key, and there is not very much meat sticking up in that. So I would say it is definitely possible for one of them to have slipped. Okay, guys, we finally got the front end all tore apart. Immediately I can see a problem. Take a look at our cam gear. Okay, she don't look right. You look up inside there, we can kind of see the keyway in there. It just doesn't look right. Now we can see the crank gear right there. Keyway in that guy is perfectly lined up where she's supposed to be. You can see the key is not moved, is not sheared. But the cam definitely does not look right. Let's pause this real quick and we'll go look at that cam on the back of that truck from that junk one. Okay, yeah, you can see the key in there, but also the major difference you can see is this shaft is protruding from the gear. The one on the stack truck, it's recessed inside the gear. So yeah, that camshaft is definitely moved. That's not good. So what are we gonna do? I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna do some checking, do some phone calls, and see if that cam can be realigned. If I put a new camshaft in it, new camshafts require, you know, for warranty purposes, they require you to put new lifters in as well. And the lifters are inside the engine. You have to turn the engine upside down, pull the oil pan, and then with the cam out of the way, you can put the new lifters in place. Let me show you what the lifters look like. I've got some back here off of this junk engine. Hell, I can show you right there on the block too. I forgot about that. Hold on. Okay, so this is a lifter. Oops, sorry about the light. Here's a lifter. It's kind of got a mushroom head on it, and they sit in the engine. Let me flip this camera around here again. So on this junk engine, there's where the camshaft goes in, and these lifters sit on top of the camshaft, and they go up and down in the little boss right down in there. I'll show you on that one. So they go up and down in that little hole right there, which shoves the push rod up and down, which, you know, in turn moves your valve. So in order to get them lifters out, you have to have the engine upside down so you can drop them in, and you have to have the camshaft out. You don't have to have the head off. That's not really necessary, but we definitely have to have the engine out and upside down to change lifters. So maybe we can find a used one or something. This one is junk. I was just looking at it that came out of this truck. You can see the lobe on that one is good. This one is not. She ate that lobe off. So that cam's not an option. Oh boy. All right. Well, let me go make some phone calls and see what we need to do with this thing. Well, I've got some good news. I just got off the phone with Power Driven Diesel out there in Utah, and I spoke with them last week, kind of gave them a rundown. Anyway, they said, nope, it's not a major deal. It happens. It's kind of common, but not really common as far as cam problems. But basically what he said, let me get that light out of your face. Basically what they said was, go ahead and pull your camshaft out and get it realigned with the pin or key or whatever the heck it is, and just put a couple tack welds alongside of it. He says, yeah, if you can weld, you can fix this problem. Yeah, I can weld, but I don't think I want to probably weld on that, because it is a cast gear on a camshaft. So I'll get the camshaft yanked out of there, and we're going to run it over to I guess they're a machine shop, but anyway, I'll have them do the welding for me, and then we can get this puppy put back together. The only other issue is on that number 5 intake, she pulled the threads out of it, and so we're gonna have to drill the hole out and put a helicoil in there. So yeah, that's not very fun. While we've got it all open, and we're gonna have to do that drilling, so everything's gonna have to be cleaned. I'm gonna pull all these rockers and all these little crosses for the valves, and we're gonna put my pressure gauge on these like you would do a compression test. I'm gonna hook the air up to them, put shop air in them, so we can make sure we don't have a bent valve stem and it's just gonna blow, you know, out the exhaust or the intake. Primarily that intake's what I'm concerned about, but any of these valves could be bent because of those push rods being bent. So just a little bit of preventive type, you know, investigation might cause, you know, us to not have to find out the hard way. So yep, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have to get my bumper yanked off here. We've got to get the air conditioner and the intercooler pulled out of the way, because that cam will come straight out of the engine like this. I don't think I put it on the video. Maybe I have it on the video. When I replaced this gearbox cover, this whole gearbox 2 years ago, we did the same thing. You have to pull the cam out to get the gearbox out. We're not pulling the gearbox this time, but I have to have all this shit out. And in order for those lifters we were telling you about not to fall out, you got some wooden dowels that are about 12 inches long, and you poke those down inside where all those push rods come, and you got a tapered, kind of a tapered point to those wooden dowels, and you drive them into that lifter and then gently lift up on them, and that will hold the lifters up while you pull the camshaft out. That's how you get by pulling the camshaft without dropping all your lifters. And if the lifter falls, then we're gonna have to pull the fucking engine, so we have to be very careful not to bump them. Okay, so I've got my work cut out for me. So we'll probably check back in with me next week, guys, as this is going to be at least probably a week project, depending on how that machine shop is on being busy. I'm gonna get a hold of them and see what their time frame is, if I get it over to them right away, or whether they can't get to it and I just need to wait for a week or so. So looks like the wife's coming. So anyway, thanks again, guys, for coming along while we're checking this out. Hush, dog. Hey, it's just the wife. Calm down. So, give us a big kiss, babe. All right, guys. Check in next week because we're working on the big Cummins. And until then, catch you later. Whoop! Hold on, guys. New update. Check this out. So, I'm pulling the cam gear out. And I thought when I pinned the gear in behind here, the timing pin goes into the cam. And I thought when I had timed it before, just the other day checking this, that this gear felt a little loose, kind of wonky. So I started pulling this gear out. Oh fuck. That's kind of different. It is busted. How about that? Well, god dang. So this just got more difficult. Alright, so now we got a whole nother bunch of problem. We got to get that camshaft out of there. And now we definitely have to find a new cam, because that one's busted. Alright, guys. Catch you next time.